You know, at the end of the day, I know I've criticized Floyd on certain videos, but it is because I'm a fan of Floyd. But I just think my criticism of Floyd, which I have the right to give my opinion, I just think sometimes Floyd has just had a hard time, you know, post retirement, just, not wanting to pass the torch and wanting to stay relevant and being an attention whore when Floyd need to pass the mantle to some of these other guys. And I think Floyd should have passed the torch to one of these young brothers out here. But, Floyd didn't want to do it because Floyd, to a certain degree, he's selfish and he's all about himself. And I sometimes think Floyd is a little envious of some of these young fighters. He just don't want to pass the torch. And I feel like he feels like he has to stay relevant, like every time, there's a fight going on, which would be considered a so-called big fight. Then here comes Floyd announcing that he got, exhibition match going on. And he always announces it during, the weekend of a big fight or the week prior. So, you just like, come on, Floyd, let one of these, you had your time. You know what I'm saying? You had your time. And then based off the numbers that Floyd's last fight did, and based off the fact that it was a disaster, that nobody really came to see his last fight. And I don't know why the Floyd Mayweather fanboys, the extremists, get mad when you put out this type of information. It's factual and it's nothing you could do. And that's just real. The only thing you could do is cry about it, call me out my name. Oh, you're a liar. And no, not a liar. That's just real talk. But nevertheless, I was just looking at some, old videos of Floyd, his come up, his start from, a young fighter coming out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and to where he got to where he is now. But I got to say this. I think a lot of the criticism of Floyd early in his career was unjust, and I do think it was unfair. And real talk, when I think about Larry Merchant, I stand by what I said about Larry Merchant. I always thought Larry Merchant was a racist. And I still believe that. Now, I know people going to say, oh, you have no proof Larry Merchant is a racist. Well, you have no proof that he isn't a racist. And I'm not finna argue with you Powdered Milk Village, members, because at the end of the day, I believe what I believe and I stand on it. That's real talk. I interviewed Larry Merchant and I've always got those vibes from him. And I would just look how he would always criticize Floyd, and not just criticize Floyd. I know he would always try to be disrespectful to the black fighters. I've seen that way too many times. He would just take it personal. And I'm going to tell you what turned a lot of people against Floyd Mayweather. It was the way he beat up on Arturo Gotti. And that's real talk. The way he beat him down, he made Arturo Gotti look like what he always was, a C-level average fighter at best. And the problem was, it was the way he got beat up by Floyd. It was a mismatch because everybody wanted to praise Arturo Gotti for those 3 fights that he had with Mickey Ward. And then basically when Floyd got a hold of him, people was like, okay, well, he sort of like killed the hype and the nostalgia behind those fights because it was levels to it. And Floyd was just on a totally different level. And I think a lot of people was mad at the way Floyd manhandled Arturo Gotti, the way he beat him to a pulp and made him surrender, which isn't fair to Floyd. Now, I know a lot of people won't admit it and say, well, that wasn't the case, or Floyd just had a bad attitude. He had issues with his baby mamas and all that stuff. But what about Arturo Gotti? He was accused of the same stuff that Floyd Mayweather was accused of. And so was Edwin Bolero and a couple other boxers. And you know what Carlos Boldemir is in prison for. So you don't want to have that conversation with me. Don't try that. But a lot of people was mad at him. And in particularly, I think Larry Merchant was mad at the way Floyd beat down Arturo Gotti, because he just seemed to take it personal when he had seen Floyd beat up certain fighters and dominate them. Because he was the one that kind of would like always, just go out of his way to disrespect Floyd Mayweather. Listen, I've never fought professionally in my life. Yes, I fought on the streets, and it is a difference. But I just would see how Larry Merchant would go out of his way to try to disrespect Floyd Mayweather. And to a certain degree, I guess Floyd Mayweather would get sick of it. And that's why Floyd Mayweather went off on him after that, Victor Ortiz fight. And he was just like, man, get out of here. And then Larry Merchant said that stupid stuff that he had beat Floyd Mayweather up. No, he wouldn't. Floyd would beat the brakes off your old white butt. So, I think that's where a lot of this started. And you would just see the contempt that Larry Merchant would have every time he interviewed Floyd Mayweather. He always was condescending and disrespectful. He never would give the dude his credit, for the most part. And I think if somebody doing an interview with you and they not giving you credit for being dominant, you're going to eventually get mad. And eventually you're not going to be able to keep your composure. So I just wanted to say that. And I'm just telling you where a lot of this stuff started. It really did. It started his debut pay-per-view and the way he beat down Arturo Gotti. And I stand on that. That's real talk. If you agree with me, fine. If you don't, fine. But don't come on here and disrespect me. And like I say, I stand by everything I say about, Larry Merchant. I think the dude is a racist. Always had been a racist to me. I always have thought he was a racist, and I think he's still a racist, and he's gonna be a racist when he's 6 feet under. And it's not just Floyd Mayweather. I've just seen him on several occasions do that stuff. Always has something disrespectful to say to the black fighters. He would do it to Sugar Shane Mosley. He thought everybody was supposed to fight like Roy Jones Jr. Like I said, the art of boxing is to hit and not get hit. But I just would see him do that. So, and then I remember the comments he made about Deontay Wilder when he lost to Tyson Fury in the first fight. And it's funny how they tell us not to bring race into it, but he made it about race, calling Deontay Wilder the last American black hope or something like that. And then the way he was smiling when Bernard Hopkins got torpedoed through the ring by Joe Smith Jr. So, I just would catch certain things Larry Merchant would say, and I would look at his demeanor. So I'll be like, yeah, you just get those vibes, and then when you talk to him in person. So, it is what it is. But anyway, it's your boy Town Biz. I'm out.